Welcome to the F&D Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the F&D Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and also the founder of F&D Marketers, which is a marketing agency that works exclusively with fencing and decking businesses. And really excited about today's conversation. We're going to be diving into something that's really changing the game for contractors. It's something that, frankly, I wish more contractors paid attention to, because it is a really, really big deal. And, that's how to actually properly handle your leads. So if you're a contractor out there, who's tired of chasing bad leads or tire kickers, you're definitely not alone. I would say you're in the majority. But with all the technology today and, really just now many contractors are finding ways to qualify leads better. Even before they step onto the job site. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and the software behind it. So today I have Rachel Kroese and Randy Barger from mySalesman. So Rachel and Randy, I appreciate you coming on the podcast with me. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful, Alex. It's sunny here in Nebraska, so that always puts a pep in my step.
Yeah, it makes things better.
Fantastic. Thanks for having us, Alex.
Absolutely. So I've known about mySalesman for a while, that they're going to get into a lot more detail about the company, but I've known about it because we have clients that use it. So I'm familiar with it, and it's a really cool software, and our fencing clients use it a lot. But I basically when I was at Fence Tech and, got towards the end when things started to slow down, just kind of making rounds, I saw the mySalesman booth, and then speaking with Randy about that, and he was introducing me to all these different features that I didn't know about. Then we had a call with Rachel as well. I don't know, 2 weeks ago, something like that, and was really surprised at what I learned there, especially on the decking side, because they're introducing some things that, frankly, I've been thinking about creating myself, and just been hoping somebody would create something like this, and it's really close to what I had in mind. So that's why I wanted to bring them on here so they can share and explain the software, see what mySalesman does, and see if it be a good fit for your business. So to start things off, Rach, would you mind kind of introducing yourself? What your role in the company is, anything like that?
Absolutely. Well, Alex, my name is Rachel Kroese, and I have been with mySalesman brand since 2015 when I went to my first Fence Tech. I was not actually working for the company or our fence company at the time. I was simply just helping out a friend, Matt Warner, who developed the software out of sheer need for the industry, as we saw a hole, or what we call a riddle. And Matt actually is very innovative and a visionary, and he identified it. And actually, like you, Alex, he was looking for somebody else to take that first leap. Hey, who's offering this idea that I have? Somebody has got to have it, but nobody did. So that's kind of where he took the bull by the horns. He's a go-to kind of guy. If he has an idea, he is going to run with it. We use the 70% go method here with our company. So meaning if you have an idea or you're ready to proceed with a project or something to that nature, once you hit 70%, you hit the accelerator. If you wait, you're already behind. And we've seen that even with different things that we wanted to develop, right? So yeah, 2015 is where it all began. A very different age in the industry, as nobody used software. There was one software company, it was on DOS. So really the cloud-based is something that mySalesman introduced to the fence industry. We all have 86,400 seconds in a day. Warren Buffett has them, and so does Rachel Kroese. He doesn't have more. We have the same. So what you do in that time frame matters. Your intention matters. And so when Matt created mySalesman, his intention was to save contractors time, build in efficiencies, which equal profitabilities. Not only that, is we've also entered into the trust factor. We're extending trust by having this software as a fence contractor on our website to the Mr. and Mrs. Joneses in our market. So they are free to, hey, I'm Mrs. Jones. I need a fence. I'm going to go to my local fence website and I have the get an instant online quote button. I'm going to be able to click on that, enter in my information, find my property. We've developed a drawing tool where we can, the contract or the homeowner can map out where they want their fence, gates, and then a customizable catalog that they can choose that. And then lo and behold, they're going to get some budgetary information. So I like to compare it, extending that trust to Mrs. Jones to that of the need a vehicle. Let's go to the used car lot scenario. How does that feel as a consumer when you need a vehicle and you go to that used car lot and there's zero pricing on any of the vehicles? And then you are at the mercy of that salesman that's coming out. Immediately, your trust factor indicator goes down, right? You know that there's no pricing on the vehicles for a reason. That sales guy's going to come out and he's going to try to sell me probably on a loan and as much as he can get out. But using the mySalesman product, number one, we've extended that trust by being transparent about pricing. And it's that speed to lead that everybody wants, right? You've got this lead. Now, how fast can we convert it? Right now, it's that customer goes through our software in literally about 30 seconds. Our sales team can pick up a phone and call Mrs. Jones. Hey, Mrs. Jones, it looks like you're using our online tool. Start developing that relationship and then understand if that's your customer and then could proceed to that on-site consultation and sell the fence. There's it's not no smoke and mirrors, right? You're being honest. It's a speed to lead. And where we have noticed, Alex, that we win as a fence contractor is our efficiencies. So probably several companies in our market are going to be about that same price because we're all paying about the same for material, labor, costs, and all that to build the actual estimate. So where we win is if we can get there first and take them off the market before anybody else. So that's kind of my salesman in a nutshell.
Yeah. And it makes sense. I mean, and it's certainly not going the other way in terms of how impatient people are. Everybody, I mean, I don't even really look at other websites, honestly, if I want to buy something, because I'm just like, and maybe that's a bad thing, but the certainty of, I'm going to get something quick from Amazon in 2 days, like if you're going to go to a tool and you can get an instant quote to get what you want and everybody's already programmed that way, just about everybody, you kind of have to lean into it, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, it's kind of how I see it.
I believe that's how consumers shop. Just like you said, Alex, they are online shoppers. I know I am. I am not going to go out to Home Depot, Menards, and the appliance store when my washing machine goes out. I'm going to search online first to get some information, to understand what a budget is, and then I'm going to proceed to do the, hey, I'm going to call this person up or I'm going to visit the store. I'm going to do my homework first. And then quite frankly, most of us are living in 2-income households, right? So both mom, dad, or husband, wife are at work all day long. And then they're reminded when they go home, let the dog out, and you're like, dang it, I need a fence. Well, I'm going to go to online and start looking fence, and it's 8, 9 o'clock at night, right? So I'm just trying to get an idea of who's in my market that can service me. But lo and behold, I can get an instant online quote from this company. Well, I'm going to go through that at 9 o'clock at night. No company is going to answer their phone if I call them, right? But I sure as heck can go ahead and get some budgetary information. And then, so those folks at Empire Netting and Fence are going to get an email at 9 o'clock at night on Tuesday night. And so they'll be able to, maybe they'll even call back. Or first thing in the morning, they're going to call that customer, right? And discuss, start building a relationship with them, discuss their project. And then from there, do an on-site consultation if that customer calls another company and leaves a voicemail, they may not get back to them for a couple days, right? So there's a big
If
speed
ever.
here. And I don't
Right.
want to diss AI, but there's a lot of good. I use it every day. But what I see trending is more and more fence companies are using it to answer their phone. And little by little, yes, we need technology in our life, but that human element of building a relationship is starting to pull at the seams. Even when I'm contacting my own fence contractors that we work with, I'm getting an AI voice. And sometimes these fence contractors don't even understand how that works. And I get into a voice loop, and I don't talk to anybody.
Yep.
So being able to provide a software system where customer can get information and then still remember that as a fence contractor, I want to start pouring into that relationship. I'm going to call that customer up, and then from there on out, we're going to make a sale, right? Or we're
Yeah.
going to move on to the next customer.
Yeah. Yeah, you made a lot of good points there. I was tempted to go on some tangents because you made a lot of points that I want to elaborate on, but I want to make sure we make this as much about mySalesman as possible, and don't go off on how to or the sales process and all that. Because I know anyone that's clicking on this is going to want to know all the specifics of the software. But you made a lot of good points there that made me want to go in that direction. But um, did the software start out with fencing? Is that correct, or is that the first service you started working with mySalesman?
Yes. So Empire Netting and Fence was established in 2009. And then Matt had previously worked for a general contractor, but then also a fence company as well. So he already had the notion of going to Mrs. Jones' house, petting the dog, holding the baby, walking the fence line, making chit chat, to leave that property, never to have sold a fence. And then 3 years later, you drive by and there's no fence, right? So that's what got his gears turning, as there's got to be a better way to do things. So because we live, breathe, walk in the fence industry, we feed 190 folks' families in the fence industry. That's our mother company, right? That's where we got everything started just because of that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then which industries does it work with now?
So we just added deck. It's a deck add-on because obviously a lot of fence companies are building deck as well. But we also service exterior cleaning and roof and turf.
With sorry, I think it broke up. What was the last one there?
So we have fence, deck, roof, exterior cleaning, and turf.
Got it. Okay. I know you touched on this a little bit, but I think it'd be good for them to know. Maybe we kind of talk through the whole workflow, I guess, of how it's added to the website, how they can use it there, how they can incorporate it into their system. If there's anything you might want to add about how they integrate or how they work with you, that's fine too. But I know you're going to do a much better job, and I don't want to butcher it, but letting them know kind of how it will work from their initial leads, how it can help that all the way to the software where they can see the leads internally, anything like that. You think we could kind of walk through those steps?
So yes, absolutely. So number one, when we sign up a new client, our intention is for us to be the easy button. And so based on our years of home service, we already have a process where, say for instance, Alex, you wanted to use our software. You go to our website at mysalesman.com. You click on the sign up button. That's going to get emailed to our team. We are going to have your account ready in a matter of 15 to 20 minutes to log in. What you do is we actually set up a basic style catalog for you. Again, we want to hit the easy button, and then when you, Alex, go to log in, you have everything pre-built and ready to go for you. It's all branded, and it's off the shelf top type software. So what you'll find is your URL link that you would go ahead and just copy and paste into your website, create a button, follow some Google principles on what Google's looking for, use our fence calculator, that type thing, or get an instant online quote, because those are the type of words that we all know that Google likes and adheres to. But as far as, and then we do an onboard, usually just about 30-40 minutes just to walk through the process, because with our last iteration with mySalesman 3.0, we have built it knowing the upcoming, or we saw that vision of the upcoming. Everybody's going to want to probably have their own CRM. Well, I use this and I use that, and can you do this and can you do that? So with that in mind, we have some direct integrations, but we also built an open API key on, so we have the ability to talk to those other systems, right? As mySalesman always should be the top of your workflow. That should be tech stack software number one. And we're very good at what we do as far as, qualifying that lead. That contractor puts their link on their website. So number one, it's not a lead generator. We always have to keep our thoughts about that. So say for instance, Alex, you are helping your clients with using their whole system and having that put in place. You're going to be driving people to their website where they can click to get that awesome instant online quote. So that's your job, is to get the people there, right, onto that page so they can go through mySalesman, go through the process. Contractor gets an email, homeowner gets an email with all their information, their budgetary information. They have the ability to put some personal verbiage in each and every one of those emails that go out. But then again, on the back side, the admin side, we have all the reports for every single potential client that went through, those that finished the process, those that dropped off on the process. We have the ability to organize that information, place filters in our reports, and find sold versus, not sold. And hey, how'd you hear about us? We're also tracking tracking the source of where that lead, heard about you, the fence contractor. It's hard as fence contractors to understand their ROI on different types of marketing. Hey, we did this campaign through Facebook, or we did this through a sponsorship at the local high school. But what we're trying to do is pull that in a little bit and offer some data to the contractor on how that person heard about us. And there's all cool applications on the back end where you can run the different filters and compare data, and then plot every single person who's been on your site, plot them on a map. So again, you're being efficient as far as, okay, I have a cluster over here and a cluster over here. I'm going to schedule these are my on-site visits. I'm going to schedule them on such and date, just because regionally located, you always want to try to be efficient, right? So with mySalesman, we're trying to give you more juice for the squeeze, so to speak, right? We're giving you extra and beyond just qualifying a tool. Now with the integration piece, that is simply amazing. So amazing, and what it can do, I can't even explain. So Randy, that is his wheelhouse. He is full of knowledge on every piece of bit of the software and what it can do and what it could do in the advanced stages that people rarely don't. You got to take a peek under the covers, because it does some pretty cool things, and I'll have Randy elaborate on all of that IT stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. That's where I think our biggest improvement really is in the software in the past year. And we went through a complete rebuild of the software last year for a couple of reasons. But part of that improvement was adding some of the additional integration and capabilities. So we've got the API, we've got a webhook. What that basically allows us to do is now send data into other CRM systems or even just automation tools. So you can use Zapier or Make.com or Power Automate and basically have it capture the webhook. So that webhook is sending, hey, here's a new budget quote from a customer. What do you want to do with this? Now I can take that data, put that data into a CRM system. I can put it into a text message. I can put it into an email. I can put it into a spreadsheet. I can do whatever I want with that data now. So we've made that data available to our contractors immediately, that they can do anything that they want with that. So even if our system doesn't do it inherently internally, you can now take that data, do anything you want with it. And I think that's where the real power of this software now lies, is the ability to do that. We also added in better Google Analytics. So when you can take your Google tag, excuse me, from either Google Tag Manager or Google Analytics, plug it right into your consumer link page where your customers are actually getting their quote, and you can track their whole process through that. That means you can track them from your lead generation, from your website through the mySalesman portal and back. We do UTM parameter pass through. So if you've got Google ads or meta ads that you're doing, we can continue to track that activity as well. So got a lot of residential construction companies that are really getting very advanced now compared to 10 years ago.
Mm.
Like Rachel said, when we started, a lot of our customers didn't even have a website. Now they're getting into advanced analytics and tracking all their campaigns and doing all kinds of advanced activities with where are these customers coming from, where are they going, what exact stage did they finish, and what button did they click last, where did we lose them. All of that information is now possible to obtain with some of the integrations we've done.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge because there's tons of different software that different companies use. And I think if you, especially, I mean, mySalesman seems like the main deal is like, qualifying that lead and making sure, it's a solid lead, but also giving the homeowner a chance to, really get clear on the pricing or at least get some kind of an estimate. So, if you have this, like if you're using mySalesman, anybody listening, and you have another software that is your CRM or really anything that you're doing to manage your projects, what you're saying, Randy, is you'll have some kind of integration either through Make or Zapier to push that data in there, right? So you can kind of use it with whatever you currently have.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So we kind of know, the process if a contractor were to sign up with you and, get set up and do the onboarding, things like that. I just want to make sure it's clear that everyone understands like how the workflow works with the homeowner. When it's time to find out they want a new fence or a new deck, whatever. Can we talk about like what that state or what that workflow would look like for the homeowner and kind of how they would work with the websites, and go through those steps so contractors listening can kind of get an idea of like how much easier it is or better it is for them as well, and kind of why it would help them long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Mrs. Kroese and I need a fence. So I am going to, number one, just Google fence company near me, right? Or
Oh, yeah.
I know word of mouth or I saw a billboard or whatever bit of marketing went out there that caught my eye. I'm going to start now doing some investigation. And so I'm going to go to Empire Netting and Fence because I hear they're a big deal and they're ranked #1 on their Google page, right? So I'm going to go to Empire and click on their website and kind of looking through things, and I see get an instant online quote. So not just one button, but it's in several different places. So I'm going to click on this button. It's asking me for my contact information. So I'm going to be putting in my contact information, and now it's asking for my property. Okay, this is a fun game. I'm putting in my property, and doggone it, that is my home. Look at that. I even got, okay, that's right. I parked right there. There's my vehicle. Doggone it. Big brother, right? So now I'm saying I hit a button that says draw where you want your fence. So I click and I moved to the vertices on where those end posts go, and I build my fence out. Double click, I'm done. Now I need a fence. All right, I can do a single or a double, put those in, and voila, my fence is literally complete. I'm going to hit the next button, and then now I see what Empire offers. Wow, this fence track system, that's a nice one. I'm going to click that. I have a 6-foot fence track, cedar inlay pickets. And that is, I'm going to now see a budget, right? That budget is honestly, with the fence track, it's going to be $28,000 to $30,000 for my fence. My jaw just hits the floor, right? Yikes. Well, that's the fence track system. It is a premium product. You don't see many of them because they're very nice products. So I'm going to maybe look at something a little bit more in my budget. So I'm going to hit clear all because we have that ability. I'm going to hit clear all. Now I'm going to search for a 6-foot wood board on board cedar. Well, okay. That's 13 and 15,000. That's in my budget. Okay. So now I'm going to hit that next button, and I'm going to see the lovely faces of our team at Empire, and all the information about that fence. Hey, this is your address. Here is your budget. This is how much fence you need. If you have any questions, you can click this button. Thank you for using our online budgeting tool. Henry will be contacting you soon. So Henry gets an email as soon as I had hit that next button. He's going to be able to see all my information, Mrs. Kroese's information, where she wants her fence, how much fence she needs, and what style she was interested in. So he's going to proceed to call that customer up, discuss the project, start building that relationship. And from that point out, we like to vet our customers. So if this is a customer that we want to do business with, then we're going to proceed to do that on-site consultation, where we're just going to verify measurements. But number one, the first date is over with. So we're already to date number 2. We already see we already know all the information that we need to know. It's just now that on-site visuals. Hey, I didn't notice this little thing from the satellite imagery, and questions to that nature. But when that customer sees that budget, our numbers are going to be at the bottom of that budget. We have a psychological edge. When a customer sees that a budget is between $6,500 and $7,250, I, as that consumer, are going to probably think it's on the higher end of things. But we have that budget range set that our number, Empire's number, is on the bottom. So that we've already conditioned Mrs. Jones to know how much she can expect to spend. And she wants us to come out and verify measurements and get into the weeds, right? So when we're out there, then that's exactly what we do. We get into the weeds and say, okay, Mrs. Jones, this is what you're looking at. She's ready to sign. She's ready to pull the trigger because she was ready to sign the budget. We've had that happen several times, Alex. We've had people go through our mySalesman. We contact them and they're like, yep, when can you come out? Like, okay, well, you saw a budget that was $6,572. I'm darn tootin' happy to sell it to you for 72, but it's really going to be 65. So that's kind of the process. And then, of course, you have a certain amount of people who are just organically going to go through the website. You're still going to have customers calling you and say, hey, can you send out an estimator to come out to my property and give me an estimate? Absolutely, Mrs. Jones. We can send out Henry to do just that. But let me go ahead and take a little bit of information first. And then we're going to lead into, okay, Mrs. Jones, well, the next part of our process, if you don't mind going to our website and clicking on this get a quote button, because this is going to help us get the additional information we need prior to our on-site consultation. So that's how we get Mrs. Jones into our reports pages, when from there, they're in there, and then when they move into subsequential CRM systems or whatever processes that contractor has in place, nobody's going to ever get lost in the system or, hey, where are we with this customer? Because we've got a trail from the top time we dropped them in to the top of the bucket till the time we are accepting a check from them.
Do they get the budget before it sends to the contractor? So like, can they see the estimate and then they say send to contractor, or does that all kind of happen
It's
simultaneously?
simultaneous. It's simultaneous. So as soon as they choose the fence design that they like, they're going to hit a next button, which takes them to a thank you page. But as they hit that next button, it's going to shoot off that email. So one goes to Mrs. Jones. So automatically she reaches, she's at her computer or reaches in her phone, and she's like, gets this nice branded email. It's got all the company logo information, pictures of the sales team. It's a really great email. It screams branding. This is branding 101. And so, yeah, they simultaneously get that information. This whole process takes less than a minute to do. So ideally, the system works for that mom and pop store, for that 1 million in revenue, to that multi-branch 500 million in revenue, because of what it does as far as efficiencies, time savers, and then quite honestly, Matt created it to understand if this is our customer and not go out on every single inquiry, so to speak, right? Because not everybody's going to buy a fence from you. So this is really let's just be real. I filled up my vehicle at the gas station. It was $65. And that's for a smaller vehicle. These diesel vehicles, they're upwards over $100 to fill. So if we can save a contractor going out on a couple leads that he's not going to sell, it's got its value right there. But then what we have to think is what we're providing, besides just some budgetary information and the value of not going, is we're providing an opportunity, number one, for that customer to shop the way they're used to shopping online. Number two, building ourselves as a trustful contractor in our market. We're not trying to do smoke and mirrors here. Here's our budget. The only thing that we do with that is we set ourselves up to be on the low side of that, right? So we've got a lot of things working, not just, hey, it's saving me to go out on 2 leads, which I have X amount of fuel. I mean, that literally fills my tank a couple times, right? To go out and not do a job because you hear a no. I'm still putting in the fuel. I've got lost revenue because I lost 4 hours of lost time, right? Time is that one thing that you can't get back. Remember, everybody's got 86,400 seconds in a day. Randy can spend it. He's got that 86,400 seconds. He can spend it going onto every single lead where maybe he doesn't sell one. Or I'm using mySalesman, I'm able to qualify my leads, and I go out on the one, I'm saving time, fuel, and I sold a job. So the value is not just on, hey, I'm selling jobs because of mySalesman. The value is not going, saving time, saving lost revenue, wear and tear on tires. That big company that uses us with all their branches, there will never be a branch to open up that does not use my salesman because of what it does on saving on just not going and providing that opportunity for a customer.
That's really the key point in the whole process is you've got without my salesman, you get a call, you get an email, you get somebody that's interested. You're going to go out there, you're going to look at the property, you're going to measure the property, you're going to figure out a quote, and then they're going to come back and say, "Oh, that's 3 times more than I was even thinking about. Forget it." Now you've just lost 2+ hours of your time and a tank of gas. Uh, the My Salesman tool basically would prevent that because they're going to get that. Even if they get that quote, they go through the whole process, they're going to get that quote. You follow up with them on the phone call or an email, however, and they're going to tell you immediately, yeah, no, that's not even close to my range. Never mind. Boom, you're done. You spent 5 minutes instead of 2+ hours and a tank of gas. So that right there saves you. That
Yeah.
right there is worth the subscription in itself.
Yeah. And I mean, just think about the energy too. I mean, every contractor listening, whether they're past this or in the thick of it right now, can think of these bad leads and just how draining they can be. And like starting a business, having a business is extremely energy draining. There's a million things that go on at all times. And I would say one of the most frustrating would be to travel, a significant amount of time, taking the gas, the energy and all that just to,
Hmm.
realize it was a bad appointment. So, I would say financially it makes a ton of sense easily. We'll talk about pricing here in a little bit, but when you hear it, it's not like it's some crazy expense, but what you get from it is a lot. It's not just,
Hmm.
more, I guess, more convenient, but if you want to break it down and sell it to the financial person in your company, you can break it down in terms of gas mileage. But if you're the one doing all the sales calls, to me, that's what is the most draining. Just losing all your energy and just being frustrated, and then you're not as useful to the company later,
Right.
or you take it home to the family. Who knows? So it's a really big deal.
Now, on the flip side of that is you have slow times, you have slow periods, and you want to follow up on maybe those lesser leads at that point. And that's where you can come and look at the drop-off reports. So we have, you'll have customers that start the process and they plug in their address and they draw out a fence, and maybe they're just going through the process of selecting material and what kind of fence they want. And they look at that and they say, forget it. They close out the window and they're done. That's a drop off, right? And that's not a qualified lead at that point. But if you're going through a slow period and you got 20 drop-offs in your report list, you got nothing to do. Now you can go call those, and at least you have the contact information, find out what they're wanting. Maybe it was a month or two ago and things have changed. Maybe they tried contacting a different company and got a terrible quote and they're looking for something. So there's some additional possibilities there that you can use for those other leads during your slow periods.
Yeah, it's a good point. And is it I think we discussed this, but those people that don't quite fill it out, is there a way to track them to then retarget them, Facebook ads?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That'd be
So
huge.
all of that, you can choose to capture the contact information last. We do have some contractors that prefer that, but typically we want the user to put their contact information first. That way, even if they drop off right after that step, at least we have their contact information. So we've got their email, their phone, and then the next piece is the address, and then the next piece is the map, and then they proceed on to the materials and what kind of fence they want. So each step of that is tracked. We track what stage they were at when they dropped off. We also report that back to Google Analytics. So if you're using that, it can track that as well. So yeah, there's a way to definitely put those into some type of a follow-up, sequence in your CRM or whatever.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, of course I relate everything to marketing, but if you know the step that they're in and you realize it's more of an advanced one, where they're like really close down the line, but they didn't quite submit. Obviously the ones that submit are prime candidates for that too. But if you know where they are in the process, that could allow you to run a different type of Facebook ad based off of, what makes sense for that homeowner. Like that's not the person who's just wondering what type of material to use, like they're very close. So you maybe need to sell them on your company. Maybe you need to show videos that explain like the trustworthiness of your company, or, how many years you've been around, or, I could go on and on about that one, but that's really, really powerful in terms of getting those people to sign up too. And like you said, Randy, like basically just not wasting those leads or those soon to be leads, whatever. One thing, because I don't think we talked about this, and this would probably be one of the questions I would have if I was a contractor. So taking a little bit of a step back, but we talked about like getting the range of price. So you fill it out, you draw, you basically go on Google Maps. That's pretty much what I'm guessing it is. And you draw out, the box for your fence, like where you want it. And then you select your material types. What other options do you get for them to fill out to get that price? Because 6,500 to 7,200, I think that's what you said, Rachel, is your range. That's not a huge range. It's very precise. So contractors might be worried it might give a price that's a little bit inaccurate. So I was just curious, like, what do you ask for aside from materials? I guess I'll just let you explain. Like, what do you
Yeah,
need to
no,
take
it's
to
yep,
make
that's
that
that's an easy
accurate?
button.
Okay.
So there's a catalog. So what I explained earlier is we do try to hit that easy button on having items in your catalog and ready to go for you. But essentially, it is all customizable from the images you use to the names of the fence you use to all the pricing. That is 100% contractor driven. So as a contractor, I want to offer this type, this style, and in this height and color. I'm going to put in all those assets into the system. Now they exist already for ease of use, but they are 100% customizable. So we also, what the contractor has the ability to do is they're going to put in their price per linear foot on the back end. Now that's your install price. So that's what you're putting your about average price in there after all your markup and whatnot. and your margin. Remember, we just had an internal study on market and margin because there are a lot of customers that ask us how to bid a fence and they're not sure on what their numbers are or markup and margin. So as a fence contractor, we have that ability, so we can kind of lend confidence to some people who are maybe new to the industry, so to speak. So anyway, sorry, I digressed a little bit, but that number is the contractor is putting in their per dollar per linear foot
Okay.
as an install number. Now we have two options to do that. You can either one, put your dollar per linear foot, or you can, if you want to put your panel pricing in, you can put your cost of your one panel and then how long that panel is, and then the system will figure out that number for that. So that's one attribute. We do have pricing rules that come into play as well. So number one, you're going to decide, do I want to round it to the nearest 10 or 100? And then you're going to put in your range. What do I want my range to be? I'm the contractor and I'm setting that range. Maybe the range is 0 to plus 30% over my price point. Or maybe I go, I'm going to display as negative 2% below my price point and 20% over my price point. So the contractor really has carte blanche to display to their customers whatever they want their range to be. So it could be wide, it can be narrow, whatever suits their immediate fix. And when I say immediate fix, sometimes that's if pricing, they haven't changed their pricing in their catalog for 3 or 5 years. Honestly, we do have some people that do that and then just keep moving the budget range up so they don't have to fiddle with pricing. But there's also some attributes on the back end as far as short charge pricing. So if Mrs. Jones draws her fence and she only does 2 panels, so to speak, we have a rule in there that says if the total linear feet of this job is 40 feet or less, we add $400 to the quote. And there's a couple different tiers like that. So the more fence that customer draws, the less of a short charge until you hit a threshold. And again, it's all customizable. Or you can make a minimum dollar amount. Like we don't leave the office for less than $1,500 per job.
Yeah.
And those are all, that's all on the backside. We even have a radius-based short charge. So as soon as Mrs. Jones enters in her property information, the program is going to determine how far she is, and then we can put rules on the back end. If this customer is 0 to, if 50 to 100 miles away, we're going to add $300 to the quote. Anything up to 50, there's no additional short charge, but we're going to put in a rule, and as soon as they hit 50 up to 100, we're going to add $300 or $400 for mobilization.
Gotcha.
We also have, if a customer, we have a rule, if a customer wants 500 linear feet minimum, maybe we'll give them a 5%, or it's written in the back, it's 5% discount. They can determine all that as well. And none of these rules are ever flat, right? When Mrs. Jones draws a short amount of fence, it doesn't say, oh, you have a short fence. Something is going to apply different to you. No, everything, it just goes through all of the those attributes of the pricing rules and displays as the budget range that you tell it to display. So that's how the pricing range works on the back.
Okay. As we're getting towards the end here, because I want to be conscious of both of your time, but there's one thing in case there's something, I'm sure there's common questions that you hear, objections or anything, maybe during the sales process, whatever, when contractors are speaking with you. Is there any common concerns or anything like that you'd want to say you typically hear and maybe address those? Because it might be something that I didn't think of, and it might be something that somebody's listening to might be thinking in their head too.
Oh, absolutely. So I think this has kind of been since the Stone Ages, since we first came on scene, is we've got trees here. We've got trees. What do we do about trees? So I'm a homeowner. I have trees. Yet if I'm doing this process, I know where I want my fence, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not have to be perfect in every sense. It's just planting a seed of getting that budgetary information with the customer. So I think that is kind of, sometimes we'll get into the weeds where this is the actual estimate. I gotta make sure it's perfect amount of linear feet, perfect pricing. We need to have the whole dialed down, right? No, it's really not. It's keep it simple, Simon. We are keeping this program as a cognitive level 3rd grade, right? So a 3rd grader can operate the system both front and back. So trees. So that's something that, oh gosh, there's trees in our area. Well, Mrs. Jones probably knows where she wants her fence, even if she sees trees. But on top of that, excuse me, some people don't know that we have satellite view. So we have a street view and a satellite view. So if you have trees and you want to use the street view, then you can click a button to see street, and you can see the structure and easily draw without anything but a block on map. So
Yeah,
I would
that's
think
interesting. I wouldn't have thought that'd be the top one.
Yeah. Excuse me. Another thing is people will say, hey, you know what? I just moved into a new house. It's not on Google Maps. Or what do I do with those customers who are not on Google Maps? I'm like, well, what would you do if you didn't have the software? Just do that. You can still plug and play, right? You can still put in the information. If the customer knows how much fence they want, they can literally, as they draw the total linear footage of fence, it's calculating how far, or how much they're drawing. So if they know how much fence they need, it could be out in a cornfield. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be, there's my house. Here's where I'm drawing a fence. You can just draw how much fence you need. So
Yeah.
there's workarounds for everything, right? So nothing is perfect and nothing is going to always fit, into the peg with every single situation and every single customer.
Yeah.
Um,
And when you draw it, it says the number of feet, right? Like, so you draw,
mhm.
okay. So I mean, could
As
you
your
just
drawings, like 10, 11, 12, 13,
right.
14, stop.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, if you didn't have a house or was being built, couldn't you just like do two rectangles? One that was like the size of the house. If you knew like the length of your house, you probably would if you're building it, and then just like do it off the back of it or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just like,
it's if you know how much fence you can draw it. So,
yeah. Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, there's always workarounds, and you see a view, you see an image of the area that you're working. Typically, those lots are about the same. So, if you see
Yeah.
a similar property piece, I mean, you can go off of, the neighbor's house or a neighborhood over. It's
Right.
really,
Yeah. Can't be that hard to figure out.
if you put too much thought into it, then you're overthinking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should be everything should always be at that third grade level until you hit the IT part, and that's Randy's department. And then you have to have a degree, like an advanced degree to and you, Alex, you get all that. Where things are going into the interweb and all that tracking stuff. That's your guys' departments for sure, 100%. But
I think people get a little ahead of themselves in the process, right? So this is the lead qualification stage. This is not the final stage of the sell.
Yeah.
So we're not competing. We're not computing the number of posts and caps and all the details that are going to go into this. We're not doing it to the perfect linear feet. This is to qualify the deal, give it a budget quote. This is about what it's going to be. Now let's really kick off the sales process. Let's get engaged. Let's go out and, if they're truly interested, let's go out and do the on-site visit. Let's put together the full contract estimate and do that. We're not that contract estimate. We're the budget quote. We're the lead qualification, get you in front of that customer, get them engaged, get them interested, make sure that they're a good candidate, and then go into the rest of the sales process.
Yeah. 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 I think you nailed it. Just don't have to overthink it too much. It's gonna work for just about everybody. And if there's a couple people that can't figure it out, like it's not gonna anywhere close outweigh the benefits that you have for
right.
the 99% that do. So, okay. Well, so is there anything you'd like to say kind of as we close out here? Maybe somebody that's thinking about using it. Anything based off I know you both have been with the company for a long time. So any past experiences that might, be that last final thing that will get them to at least try it and see if it works good for them.
So
I think, go ahead.
Go ahead, Randy. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
All right. I think the biggest thing for people to remember is first month is free and there's no contract. So you can pause or cancel the subscription at any time. It's kind of a no-brainer from that perspective to get signed up, get it on your website, start throwing some traffic through there. You get that first month free, and if you really have followed the process we recommend and you're not seeing any benefit from it, there's no contract. So it's a pretty low risk.
Yeah. And what's the cost, by the way? I've realized I don't think we spoke about that.
It's $175 per subscription, and this is how we differ from a lot of software programs. Is we have unlimited seats for the mySalesman tools. So whether you have one person using the software or 20 people using the software, it's the same cost. You just $175. You can put that on your website, your Facebook page, any of your socials, or literally you can use that link anywhere, copy and paste it anywhere, and you can have hundreds of submissions. It's the same cost for that fence contractor. It's $175. So
nice. Okay.
It really, that's one of our uniques, right? Is that we are different, and we're a fence company, so we use several pieces of software in our daily operation. mySalesman is by far the easiest to use. And as far as value goes, you can't, the value that it offers us as defense contractors is so much more than your 175
Oh
a
yeah.
month. I mean, you're going to pay 175 on taking a client out for drinks, right?
Yeah.
175 is going to really establish so much value for that contractor that, like I said, we've had so many people that have been with us for over a decade that they chuckle. They're like, hey, you know what? You should probably charge more for mySalesman, but don't charge me more.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
but you
mean,
should probably charge more because the value is so much higher than what
yeah,
the actual subscription cost is.
I would have guessed it would have been higher for sure. Or you would have done
Mhm.
like user-based pricing. So I mean, that's an incredible price point for sure. And yeah, very few that don't charge more for users. So I would just say, like, anybody listening, this or anything else, like, you got to try new things and see what works and what makes you more money, and keep it and continue to go down that path. And like, I always say with marketing, but if it's working, keep doing it. And something like mySalesman, I'm not a contractor, so I haven't used it personally, but when I hear things like this, I know if I was, there's no reason not to try it, in my opinion, because it's not a huge expense. For one, you could cancel, but also, what are the chances it doesn't work out? Probably very low for that price point. So, it's a good thing to see if it works for you, if it works for your company, if you like it. And if it does, continue to use it. If you don't, like I said, there's no real loss on it. But um, that's what I've seen with my company as I've grown, is just trying new things, see what works. If they work, I keep it. If they don't, I don't like it, I'll stop. But you got to always be curious, always be trying new things. And that's what's going to help you get to those next levels, or get the business that you really want. So, but anyways, that's all I had for you. So Rachel and Randy, I appreciate you coming on here and, sharing all of this. I know that everyone that's listening, I'm hoping they're more interested in, trying something like this, because uh, it opened my eyes a lot. And I am in this world in software, and, formerly, for a long time, I've been in this world, and it still made me very curious. And I had a lot of things that I was surprised on from the call. So I'm hoping everyone that's listening today had a similar effect. And, just appreciate you both coming on here and sharing that. So,
Yeah,
Thanks for
and
having us, Alex.
Alex, I just have a parting, couple parting words as far as so our intentions, our business is very intentional. So we where most businesses use people to grow their business, what we are doing is we are using our business as a vehicle to help grow people. So that's on multi levels. So not only you may find value using our software, but I hope you'd even find as equal value as just being a partner with us and having a friendship in the industry as we work together to raise standards for our industry, and what that looks like as far as partners and vendors and internal companies and external relationships, that we're all striving to do better. And just like Stephen Covey, like we studied Stephen Covey, and we really honestly believe that trust and inspire is something that we want to share and be cascade that message to the fence industry, right? So that's kind of where we are. Like, do business with us because we have a great product, and I think we even are better people. So
yeah, absolutely. I love that. And yeah, I mean, that's been the interpretation ever since I, spoke with Randy at Fence Tech. So I can tell you guys are, really passionate about it, and that's why you're seeing all the success that you've had. So, but anyways, going forward with, that wraps everything up here. But going forward with the podcast, we'll have a bunch of new episodes coming out, and having excellent guests on here like Rachel and Randy, being so open with their information. So want to continue to provide more value, and, just bring some new information to you that might help your business and help you grow. And right now we're in the thick of it. This is like the busiest time of the year for everybody. So if your business is not kicking off the way you want it to, feel free to give us a call, Fence and Deck Marketers. You can reach out to our website, deckfencemarketers.com. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again, Rachel and Randy, for being on here, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
For pleasure. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye.